solar eclipse, which will be annular and will be therefore creating a ring of fire depending on what you're looking at it or where you're looking at it from. There is no steering wheel when it comes to an eclipse. There is no way to put your hands on the wheel, what you have chosen maybe before you were even incarnated, as a part of the plotline of reality. And you can't make this stuff up because this is pretty darn powerful. Destined, fated, new romantic love can come the way of Pisces in this next year. The star of magic is also in a house that sometimes is associated with performers. You want to move into something like the butterfly chrysalis, entirely new in your career.
Lunatic astrology.
All right, we're talking about the eclipse at February 17th, Aquarius 28 degrees, and we're talking your sign. Settle in, get a tea, a cup of coffee, a beer, or a glass of wine, whatever makes you happy. This is not the world astrology content, but we're talking instead today about how you can use this eclipse energy not seen for 18 and a half years, and before that another 18 and a half years, or 2008, 2009, or going back in time, the eclipses that began in the fall of 89 and through to 1991. This is a lot like the same time of year in 1990, the same time of year in 2008, except that the north node of fate is still in Pisces while the eclipse is happening in Aquarius. And that's a bit of a different flavor. So today's video, we're going to talk about what the hybrid quality of this solar eclipse, which will be annular and will be therefore creating a ring of fire depending on what you're looking at it or where you're looking at it from. And in today's video, I want you to know that this is really about your sign. Although if you want to go back to my video that would have dropped probably the day before this, I am covering the idea that in this next year, 26 and 2027, you're going to be finding yourself in the middle of an energetic shift connected to Leo and Aquarius. That axis of your chart is under renovation by fated and destined energies. There is no steering wheel when it comes to an eclipse. There is no way to put your hands on the wheel because there is no wheel. This is more about what is destined in your life, what you have chosen maybe before you were even incarnated, as a part of the plotline of reality that you as a soul want to experience. Now, before we get started and talk about the eclipse energy, and in case you're new here, welcome to my channel. I believe you've probably seen on the front end of this an interview with Dan Waits. I'm not sure if I'm separating that out or doing these a la carte. I haven't decided yet, but Dan Waits of World Astrology Report, either at the front end of this video or separately in a la carte, talks with me about things that may happen in the world connected to this eclipse. So either you're seeing this as a standalone, or you're going to see a little bit later after this video comes out, Dan and I chatting about what this eclipse means for world astrology. Most likely you're seeing it separate for the good reason that, and listen for me for a minute, there's easily a good chance that the topics we covered might lead to a demonetization, which then this would cause problems for this whole video because we talked world politics. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Welcome to my channel, to the 8,800 people, 88, who signed up in the month of January for my channel. What the hell? I don't know who you are and why you're here, but I'm really grateful. If you say hi in the comments, say I'm brand new, I will heart you. I will try to find you and say hi. Now, today's video, and I'm Lori Lothian. This is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology, whole sign houses and fixed stars. So go back and watch yesterday's video drop about how to understand these astrology things, and let's get moving on your sign. Before I talk about your sign, reminding you that this is general bell curve astrology. This is not a personal reading. Hopefully by listening for your sun sign, you're listening to your career and purpose matters. The sun is your deepest essence. It's your spirit that is incarnating through multiple timelines, or the everything everywhere all at once. And so often by listening to your sun sign, you tap into the deeper part of who you are. But underneath of that energy, right, of the sun sign, I like deep underneath it, is your eternity. So that eternal self is like the actor who plays a role in the screenplay or movie. And the role you play is your rising sign. And when you're listening for your rising sign, you're going to say, wow, that's the character in the movie, right? That's the character in the Truman Show. Lots of things happening to the character in the simulation. Many people find rising sign is extraordinarily helpful. And you might also notice that you can look like your rising sign. I always joke about Trump's big hair and Vance's big beard, whatever. They're Leos. Leos love their hair. They're both Leo ascendants or rising. And if you want to talk about your moon sign, is how you think and feel about life. Are you mopey, happy, cheerful, half full cup? What's your subjective well-being? How do you think and feel about your story? But on top of that, the moon is connected to one's home. And 8 out of 10 times when an eclipse happens to the moon, there's a change of your home. Of course, the moon is mother and the sun is father as well. Having said all that, let us get started in the story of this eclipse on February the 17th at 28 degrees of Aquarius. In this eclipse, we have Mars and Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, making this the first time in our lifetimes that we have had an eclipse in Aquarius with Pluto there, making this not quite the same as you can imagine as 2008 and 9, nor is it quite the same as 1990 or 1991, for example. And in this regard, there is something deeper, cathartic, transformative, regenerative, renewing in this particular eclipse, because the upside of Pluto is the capacity for the phoenix to rise from the ashes, for the caterpillar to become that butterfly, for the snake to shed that skin. Do not be afraid of Pluto. If you get to work with Pluto, and I'm an Aquarius rising, hang on, all right, because it's our story. It's a big, big deal for us. Now, if you are an Aquarius rising, like I am, it's a big deal in your story, sun and moon as well. This is an eclipse cycle that particularly impacts you. And it also impacts what we call the other fixed signs, which will be the signs of Taurus and Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius. This makes a cross to us like this, and it means it's going to be very intense. It's going to bring a huge amount of turning point life changes. Yes, of course, the closer your sun, moon, or ascendant is to 28 degrees of Aquarius and Leo and Taurus and Scorpio, of course, the more intense it's going to be. But it doesn't really have to just be that all Aquariuses are feeling, and all Leos and all Tauruses and all Scorpios. Something's got to give. We know that our life is requiring some dramatic change, but we are ready for it. It is a code of destiny. Do not be afraid of the ride called the eclipses, the roller coaster ride called eclipses. Now, one more thing I'd like to mention before we go into this for your sign about this particular sky combination of stories. I'm trying to just really parse something very fine here. And if you're already an astrologer or an intermediate astrologer, you'll know what I'm talking about. You know, normally, most times, but not always, the eclipses will occur when the north node or south node, which are Rahu and Ketu, or the head and the tail of the serpent or dragon, are in the sign in which the eclipse is going to occur. But we often have buffer zones just before a major eclipse cycle starts and after, where we can encounter an eclipse in the sign it's occurring in, but while the north and south node, which form the eclipses on the ecliptic, are literally finding themselves in a situation, right? Holy moly, what are we going to do with it? A situation where we cannot figure out if it's about one side or the other. In this case, is it about Pisces, which it could be about Pisces. Or is it about Aquarius, or is it about both? So my experience as an astrologer, practicing with clients and all of that for like 8 or 9 years, thousands of clients, it's about both. So as we go through the sky today, I'm going to say this didn't happen in 2008-9 and didn't happen in the Aquarius eclipses of 2000 and 1990-91. Okay. And it won't happen in the Aquarius eclipse next winter of 27. So this is a rare combination. You're going to be focused on 2 parts of your sky, your whole sign Aquarius, your whole sign Scorpio house. 2 houses are squished together. Now, do not worry. I will explain it to you as we get rolling through the story. If you want to learn how to use astrology as a navigational device to time your life, and you want to time your life throughout 2026, I almost forgot to tell you that my 2026 videos are currently out for sale. And you'll find that you can buy your individual video, 2+ hours, usually 2.5 hours, plus a PDF guidebook, or the All Signs bundle for listening to your sun, moon, and rising, sharing with friends and family about how to navigate 2026. It's the next best thing to a reading with me. I'm not doing readings anymore at this point, closing up that shop firmly by the middle of this year to write my book, astrology book, for my agent Eileen. But I will tell you one thing. It is literally an opportunity for you to grab some kind of guidance tool, because there's a lot of shit going on, excuse my language, in the month of April, for example, and some really interesting and cool stuff in the month of July. So get my 2026 All Signs bundle and see if that doesn't help, or your individual signs in the description box below. And if you want to learn intermediate astrology for me, my Divine Timing Masterclass, April or May, I haven't set the date. The waitlist and early bird discount codes can be had by signing up in advance, not for beginners. Let's get going. Let's talk about your sign. Let me show you the sky. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And if you really like this video, try that old hype button and see what happens. No idea. It's a leaderboard. I doubt I'm going to get to the leaderboard unless I'm talking world astrology and being demonetized. And I almost forgot to double down on that Sabian symbol at 29 Aquarius, because we round up 28 degrees to the 29th degree. And you can't make this stuff up, because this is pretty darn powerful, that the Sabian symbol channeled by Elsie Wheeler in the 1930s for this degree, butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. And that's exactly what it feels like, that we can shift our spiritual level, move it up a notch, kind of move into like a higher level of awareness, to drop our conditioning, to drop our way that we constrict ourselves in a straitjacket of the known. So that whole butterfly, chrysalis, rebirth, redefinition for the world and for each of our lives, each of us individually, couldn't come at a better time, because when I was a kid, there was this thing called Chicken Little, and it was like the sky is falling, Chicken Little. It seemed like the sky is falling. I'm recording this for you on Monday, February the 2nd. It should be dropping on Sunday the blank after this. By the time you guys see this, or may not have been a big solar ejection, according to Stefan Burns, where we had a Carrington event and we lost airplanes from the sky, or whatever else could happen, melting satellites. Maybe this video won't make it out, because there's certain things of great intensity in the wars that we have in the world, in the politics, in the disabusing of, nobody believes the mainstream news. Nobody believes our politicians anymore, because Pluto out of bounds in the South Declination just began and will last for 10 years. People revolt against power. This is French Revolution. This is the American Revolution. This is a Protestant Reformation. People will push back against control, power, and what some people call the elites. Okay. And so I will say that having this chrysalis, butterfly emerging, that's not just small transformation. A caterpillar is a thing that crawls on the ground, and it thinks that's all it is. And then there's this impulse to go into a chrysalis cocoon and to completely dissolve, and then come out as something new with wings. That's humanity. That's what we are. We have wings. I have a poem that I wrote called The Crossing, and I'm going to read it in my outro. So a lot of you know I do the outro. I wrote this poem during the pandemic. To me, the crossing is exactly what Christians would call the rapture, maybe, what people who are into multiple timelines would call timeline shifts to a higher ascensional level. But whatever it is, the crossing is where we're at. And that poem reflects that very profoundly. I think it's called The Crossing. So I'm pretty sure that's what I called it. So I'm going to read that poem to you in the outro at the end of the All Signs. Let me know what you think about it after you hear it. And in the meantime, let's get going. Let's talk about the sky. And I have a spirit in my ear. Dead people come to me all the time. Full-time psychic medium, right? That's my job. I was doing that full-time in my 30s. Talking to dead people, seeing the future, precision accuracy, remote viewing. I have a really weird life. I need to write a book about it. But in the meantime, dead spirit in my ear, hopefully is one of my relatives, because I can't possibly talk to all of you and tell you whose dead relative I'm seeing. Oh my God. Okay, female. Okay, but let's not linger. February the 17th, 2026. We have a new beginning with this eclipse. The moon will actually be on top of the sun at 28 degrees on the 17th. The exact hour of the eclipse is not important, or the minute of the eclipse. I will give you some eclipse advice. If you can see this eclipse in the place in which you live, do not look at it. I'm sorry, I'm diverting from the screen. Don't look at it. Why? Because it says, I believe it's visible in South Africa, parts of Africa. I think it's also visible. I'm going to check now. If you are looking at an eclipse with your eyes, I don't mean because you don't have your little thingies on, right? But you shouldn't look at an eclipse in terms of ancient wisdom. It's a portal. It's a doorway. It's no coincidence that CERN opened up in 2024 during an April eclipse, or March or April eclipse in the sign of Aries. That it opened up in in the spring, I think it was April of 2024. It activated the Hadron Collider just because they wanted to see what they were going to get in a portal eclipse activation. They know it's a portal. They use those terminologies. So it is a doorway. Things are coming in and things are going out. And some things that come in and out of doorways are not all positive. Do not look at an eclipse during a time of a total lunar or total solar eclipse. Just take the ancient wisdom and use it. Why not be safe? Wear white, be calm, be sattvic, don't leave your food out, meditate, don't be angry, be good to yourself, stay calm. There is an eclipse. Do not look at it ever. Okay. It's not good luck, and it's a possible portal for something coming to you that you're not wanting to connect with. Where is this eclipse visible? I just wanted to check for those of you who just got my do not look at an eclipse advice because the portal is open, so to speak. It's going to be parts of Antarctica and the Southern Ocean. Their partial eclipse will be visible in the afternoon on February 17th from the southern tip of South America, Chile and Argentina, and Southern Africa. Now, where you can see an eclipse is going to often be where major events occur connected to the eclipse. And a lot of people know there's a lot of controversy regarding the Argentina in world politics at this time. So that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So you want to be cautious in southern Chile, southern Argentina, South Africa, Mozambique, Madagascar. Those are areas, Southern Ocean islands, where you might be able to see bits of that eclipse. Okay. And it says the best views are likely from Antarctica. Well, most of us aren't in Antarctica, with roughly a 5% partial eclipse for cities like Cape Town and South Africa. So you guys in Cape Town, 5% partial eclipse is almost nothing. You won't even notice it. It's the places where you actually see the ring of fire and the door looks wide open, and that 2 minutes and 20-second eclipse is how long it takes, which means it could be activating themes that unfold for 2 years and a half kind of thing. So please do not look at it ever if you can avoid it wherever you live. And the stories I can tell about the times I looked at an eclipse with my glasses or whatever, and it seemed like calamity befell my life. So better safe than sorry, if you ask me, but you do you if you really want to look anyway. Gosh, you can watch the replay on NASA and stuff like that. Why do we need to look at it? That's what I want to know. It's almost like, hey, world, look at this thing and take your risks. But I bet you any money the 33-degree Masons aren't looking at the eclipse because they know better. Honestly, I bet you Elon Musk isn't looking at it either because he knows better, because these are the occultists. Wrong place. It's my little research for you guys. Let's get this thing rolling. So it's Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. Why are we starting with the Aquarius people about the eclipse sitting right here? Well, there's good reason, because we want to talk about you having this experience similar to sort of like January, February vibrationally 1990 and also 2008. But in that time frame, you were not experiencing the nodal shift, where the node of fate was not within the sign of Aquarius. How is my node not there on an eclipse video? For goodness sakes. So let's keep it simple. And let me say this. This eclipse on the 17th, and I'm going to move us back a day so I can keep the visual of the moon here. This eclipse on the 17th is going to open a door of something fresh and new, and you will be like a butterfly emerging from the chrysalis. And as you emerge from this chrysalis, as you emerge into the new, there is something about that process. It's going to ask you to define yourself in a brand new way for the Aquarius risings, because it is your identity in the simulation. It is your game playing avatar. And so how is the world going to see you differently? How are you going to describe and experience your character differently and profoundly differently? And this eclipse that happens can last up to a year later. Like, over the course of 12 months minimum, you'll see that you are no longer operating under the same principles. And with the North Node in Pisces at 8 degrees, there is a change in how you perceive your identity or your career for Aquarius sun or purpose or moon, your home life and domestic life, how you see all of that and define that anew as it pertains to worldly success and an increase of financial income. This is a house of earned income. In what ways will you be making money in a new way that's going to increase the amount of money that you have or increase your prosperity as a general principle? And with Venus conjunct the node at the time of the eclipse, this blesses the eclipse to some degree, because Venus is a benefic, exalted placement on your money earnings while you change your identity in order to change up the way that money comes to you. For the first time since 1894, Jupiter is trining the North Node, and that also brings us into another exquisite bit of rarity. And what does Mars do? Executive decision-making power. As you listen for this, and you're listening to me right now, you've already been feeling this eclipse building up already for about 6 weeks before February 17th. I'll use me as an example. I clearly made a decision to no longer see clients. And I told my Patreon community that yesterday. Mars, action and decisions, life-changing actions and decisions, conjunct the sun, of course, eclipse. Opposite sign the sun rules is your house of marriage partners and your house of clients, audience, and marketplace and business partners. Those are areas of major decisions and change. Finally, what about this square to Uranus, who's now direct motion on the fixed star Algol? Some of you could have some shocking, exciting, and unexpected changes of your home. You might move to somewhere new, and you might not have even anticipated that that was something you were going to do, because that's the kind of thing that this kind of eclipse can bring as an element of surprise. You will not plan a move will plan you. It's not up to you. It is destined. Now, I want also to bring up the star Glenna Cygni, and I talked about it briefly in the introduction, but because this is such a powerful and incredible turning point in your life as an Aquarius, and I can resonate, sun, moon, and rising, and we'll talk about it for each sign. This is the star at 28 degrees of Aquarius, and it's called Glenna, Glena, Cygni, Sygny. And Glenna Cygni is in the constellation Cygnus of Swan, which, by the way, was known to be about the passage to the afterlife, but we won't talk about all of that now. Just to remind you, as I said in the intro, is it reveals the best that life has to offer, and it offers up idealistic, resilient, ardent energetics, and it can help you connect with what is true and real for you to find transformation in your life. And it's also connected to magic. It's access to subtle magic. So with all of that, and I teased it out in the intro, but I really want to express it for Aquarius is now, this is incredible. This is the kind of story where whatever this star is for, wherever this exact eclipse is for, it has a huge amount of power connected to it. So you can trust this energy to guide you, to start something new, to become somebody new, and allow for the surprises here and where you may live and change where you live, and trust the destined path that the ride of life is taking you on. No need to resist it, Aquarius. And I'm talking to myself. I'm giving myself my own best guidance. Let it happen. Yes. Okay. So I just said 6 months minimum. Okay, up to a year, there could be a relocation coming unexpectedly for you. But with blessings from Lord Jupiter to the node, it's also better money and better work environments and even better health environments coming off of this for you. Again, because you're making decisions and taking actions from a deeply guided place. because of the Mars piece, right? And we move forward from the Aquarians who are hanging in there. And I want to say one more thing for my fellow Aquarians. We are Aquarius ruled. I mean, we are Saturn ruled, not Uranus. Aquarius is the natural and ancient ruler of the sign of Saturn is a ruler of Aquarius, not Uranus. Trust me on that. This is going to mean that the best Saturn can do, he's going to tell this eclipse to buck up and help out in the relate things to third house things, writing projects, book publishing projects, marketing, selling, teaching, writing, online world, lots of travel, maybe a change of neighbors and neighborhood, are things Saturn will try to get that eclipse to kick in and help out with. Okay. So again, we see maybe a change of location with a change of neighborhood or city, some other area in which you decide you wish to live in. I want to go to a place with a saltwater pool. Okay. Seriously, in my building. How specific is that? I'm a lap swimmer. I need to get back to my love of lap swimming. Hey, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is your story to experience a deeply spiritual eclipse. Your 12th house is all lit up. It may felt a little similar to the spiritual energy that opened up doors for you if they did in 2008-9, particularly this time of year, 2008 out a year, or back to 1989 to 91, particularly 1990, this time of year, and then add a year. Did you have any spiritual awakenings and all of that, any shifts of perspective? Some of you might have. And yet it's not entirely the same, not at all, Pisces, because this time around, we also have the energy of the North Node in the house of your identity. Now, so let's try to bring these two houses back together. Let's try to tie these themes together. First of all, hospitals and places where we have hospital stays or tests or medical tests or anything like that. That's very connected to the 12th house, hospitals, medical places, isolation, jails as well. Now, also, the 12th house will connect you to matters to do with past lives, karmic patterns and ties, hidden enemies, self-addiction, self-undoing and addictions, where we are our own worst saboteur in life, right? And there's an eclipse here. There's a major portal of change that's destined in this area of your reality. But this time around, and if you make money internationally through borderless income, revenue, import, export, work in a foreign country from your birth, work for a foreign organization or company, online, you have clients around the world, PayPal and Stripe, right? That's money derived from the sort of international trade house of the 12th house. And it's expenses, major expenses in one's life, expenditures and expenses. And an eclipse can take them out, like remove those expenses from your reality as well, particularly around rental property expenses as well, because the sun rules rental property. So those are some broad themes. And again, go back to 2008 and 9, go back to 2000 and 1990, 91. This is different. The North Node is here. The North Node is here. And it's real. Oh, and debts. You can even remove debts from your life. Credit card debt. Eliminate a credit card debt for some way, somehow, a mortgage debt, a banking debt. Okay. This eclipse can help you get rid of that. That's a good thing about this eclipse. Mars makes decisions and cuts, ends, and severs, and you got this. And Pluto says transform as a result of it. But the North Node in your first house is literally with Venus exalted. And there's something about this opening that she wants you to have a more beautiful self. If it's your rising Pisces, you want to be more attractive, congenial, beautiful physically. You want to have an exalted state of awareness of unconditional love and higher love in life as a principle. If it's your sun, you want those things for your career. You want to glow up in your career, Pisces. And if you're a Pisces moon, a glow up in your mind and thinking, but your home life as well. And as this North Node amplifies Venus and Venus makes the North Node less malefic, there's a sense of really beautiful energy in the house of you. It's good for your body for Pisces rising. If you have a health challenge as a Pisces rising, or maybe even sun, if it impacts your vitality, you should have positive outcomes regarding body and health matters. But because of the hospitals and what's going on back then, you might need some treatment or some assessments or some procedures, but you should come out on top. You should be just friggin' fine with exalted Venus blessing you here. Good news around health challenges could be a narrative for you because the sun also rules the house of sickness in your chart, right? Now, The other element going on with this eclipse cycle for you is a square to Uranus. What is the unexpected surprise that could come your way from direct motion Uranus in your third house? Now, this could be an unexpected relocation, especially given where Mercury's sitting here, moving your home somewhere. Now, it's either exhilarating, fast moving, surprising, or unexpected. Change of location. It's not bad for making unexpected surges of financial wellness through online social media, website platforms, all of that stuff, selling, marketing. And it could also bring in an unexpected development regarding a sibling, particularly one younger than you, but any sibling in general, and some unexpected surges of information or developments there, and an unexpected opportunity for travel, especially to far off lands and distant shores. All of those things I mentioned is the surge energy coming from Uranus off that eclipse and baking it into the next 6 months. Well, although you might get information or news around the day or 2 or 3 around the eclipse, it tells you what I'm talking about. So you know what this is about. And the eclipse has been activating you for 6 weeks before the eclipse as well. Jupiter flowing to the North Node, where the eclipse is being generated from, hasn't happened since 1894. It's just good for fertility, romance, children, good fortune financially, and maybe some new romance if you're single. You look so alluring, so charming, and so beautiful under this energy of Venus here. And destined, fated, new romantic love can come the way of Pisces in this next year. If you are single, I can see you falling for someone who lives far away from where you live. You might have to travel to spend time with them, or if you're already in love with them, you might even have a fertility signature if you're young enough to make babies together. And that's true for all Pisces who are of childbearing age, who are usually Pisces rising or Pisces moon. This could be an opening for making children with someone with whom you are already in an established love story. Don't forget, we have that beautiful energy of the star in your 12th house. And that star is extremely auspicious. And one thing I really like about this star, Glenna here, Cygni, is it is very much about being showy, kind of performative energies. And it really is not a bad place because the star of magic, is also in a house that sometimes is associated with performers. A lot of actors, famous singers have planets in the 12th house. I have a theory about that, by the way, and I'm going to be talking about it in another video about why that is true, why that happens to people. But I have a story that I'll be bringing up another time. All right, let's say get going, have fun, enjoy the ride. Don't forget to look at the video that probably came out the day before this about how your eclipses through Aquarius and Leo. I talk about the whole axis of change will play out for you over the next 2 years. That video has already been out the day before this video. Now we're going to talk all about Aries, sun, moon, and rising. We're going to look at how this is going to play out for you to see this 17-degree eclipse. 28-degree eclipse on the 17th of February. You might notice I'm in a different position here. That's because I forgot you guys. And it makes me smile because you guys are the least likely sign to actually watch my videos on my all signs drops every month. And I always have a joke about you can't tell an Aries, I'm one of you, what to do. You're not the boss of us. Okay. So we're going to start with you guys and talk about how this eclipse on the 17th of February at 28 degrees of the sign of Aquarius is going to impact you. Don't forget, we have a beautiful star there, Glenna Cygnus, and it brings all that beautiful stuff I talked about in the intro, a kind of sense of wanting to achieve the best in life, the fullness of life. It's a beautiful star, a star of subtle magic. And this is in your 11th house of good spirit, where we do have a sense of good fortune and luck. This is often where we can aspire to our long-range goals, hopes and dreams and wishes for what we wish our life to become and desire to look like, our career, how people see us. It's also a place where we perceive our gains of our career to be most yummy. Like you make your career in your Capricorn 10th house, and the pocketbook of the career is the 11th. I got an Academy Award. I got famous. I was celebrity. I have money. I'm making more money. It's the greater gains of one's career. As you could find that this new beginning the portal to the new is going to do something very strong and powerful for you over the couple of years where these eclipses keep doing the thing in Aquarius. And so you're going to open up new channels or new directions or new avenues for career gains and success. And interestingly enough, an eclipse can also bring something to a closure. Something that you've already been doing for career gains and success or long range goals and dreams could come to an end. This is also the house of friendships and friendship groups and circles. If you go back to 2008, 9, or 1989 to 91, what were the career changes that you might have experienced, especially in how you gain the money for your career? So I got pregnant with my child, right? Who then was born in 1989. And what did Lori do? She stopped being a magazine editor because I have an Aries sun, right? Sun is career, moon is home and nest. She also changed, Lori has an Aries moon, to a new home because I had a new baby and we needed more room. Okay, so you get the idea. Aries sun, career changes, moon, home life changes, and rising, anything about your identity is shifting massively on this eclipse. Now, one thing about this story as well, and I brought it up in the introduction to you, to your awareness, is that it is ruled by Saturn, who happens to be sitting here in the first house. This is meaning you have a bit of a vibe of almost having a steering wheel. It's because you have a sober-minded realism about your Aries career, Aries moon, home and emotions, and Aries sun. And technically, I think this kind of story can be extremely positive for you. There's no way that you won't feel blessed in this storyline. It's going to make you feel like something good is actually trying to happen. And so, as I was showing you that screen, I wanted to remind you that I think the share has stopped, so let me fix it. This is what happens when you're having menopause brain. Let's keep on with Aries sun, moon, and rising, and my incredibly bad share system with the upgrade to Tahoma or whatever it's called doesn't work with Zoom properly. All right. So anyway, what about that Saturn? Like, you have a hard realism about you right now, and you'll have it till April of 28. Okay. Saturn is giving you a structure and form and realism in your identity, Aries rising, your career, Aries sun, and in your emotions and moods. Although you could be a little bit down and melancholic, you could also be very strict with how you regulate your moods in the next 3 years. But that Saturn also is looking at that eclipse and telling you, I'm working with it. We're going to make this thing happen. So if you've ever felt like you needed to get more structure, form, or discipline going when it comes to how you work your career gains in your life, that's going to happen. You might meet some karmic friendship circles off of this eclipse, maybe new circles of friends and groups of belonging and benefactors and allies that you haven't had before. And if you go back to 2008 and 9, is that true? It was for me. I got into a relationship and I got to be friends with my guy, my husband's actually new husband's friendship circles. Or when I look back to when I was like 89 to 91, I was a new mom and I got to get into the mom circles in the playground. So you're going to find things like that, new social circles. This time they're karmic thanks to Saturn in your sign. They're different than before. They have an element of a karmatic depth to them. All right, those new social groups and circles. Now, because we also have the North Node in the 12th house, the energy here says it's also about your international digital borderless income and revenue increasing with Venus in a benefic and superpowered way. It's about your enlightenment quotient going up 700 notches, and maybe some of what you want to share with the world in order to have greater career gains might have something to do with spirituality, with the numinous, with the mystical, with the magical, with the realm of past lives, the Akashic records, or even just spiritual awakening. Also, this North Node Venus is really important if you are looking for a new love story, because the node here could indicate a change of relationship status where maybe through social groups, friends of belonging, or career activities, you might become deeply involved in a new love, a new romance, but it would be connected to somebody likely to have a geographical distance from you, particularly for Aries rising, and even somebody from a distant shore and far off land that can be within your own country or separate. And when you add Jupiter heading into your 5th house in July for a year, that also doubles down on that. So this eclipse can open up a portal for new love, but I want you to know that it's not a day of the eclipse. Remember, you'll feel it 6 weeks before the eclipse. You'll feel it up to 6 months to a year after the eclipse. But for single Aries looking for a relationship, this could be extremely powerful, and it could lead to commitment, not just romance. Finally, If you at all are somebody who likes to work behind the scenes on creative or artistic projects in your writing studio, in your ceramic studio, in your solitude of your creative energies, yes, absolutely. Yes, this is what Venus can do here, especially with Mercury's support. And this would allow for downtime, alone time, creative time, being extremely productive, fruitful, and financially successful as well. Do you look for spiritual teachers off of this? You could. I mean, the 12th house can invite us to find a guru or a spiritual guide or a teacher. If you're going to do that, this person could be Venusian, meaning female, but it doesn't have to be that. Venus exalted wants unconditional love and higher love, and she is trining Jupiter for the first time since 1894. So you might find a guru or a spiritual guide or a teacher. That's a possibility. And you also, with Uranus, the surprise or the shock to the actual eclipse, squaring the eclipse, there could be an absolute positive wealth surge for you, because we don't think of it as a necessarily negative thing when we see a square. We think of it as an exhilarating or exciting element. The sun is squaring Uranus. It is an eclipse energy. And the sun will be perfectly squaring Uranus just before the eclipse, around the 13th, 15th, around there. So I kind of feel like you could have some illumination or excitement around a destined portal of change regarding your financial status, your earnings, your money, how much money you make. Now, there are people that connect to the 11th house, benefactors and allies, and someone might want to be the patron of your work, or you could get some surge of money from a sibling one older. But whatever this is looking good to excite you. There may be a radical kind of, staccato change that you're not expecting in the way money is coming to you or the way you want to create money, but it is connected to your career already. I do not see this looking like a lottery ticket. I could be wrong. I could qualify that I could be wrong, but you could be more likely to win the lottery when Jupiter's in your fifth house in the second half of 2026. In my view, than you would be now. The only exception to the rule, Venus is in the house of hospitals. And in Canada, especially in Vancouver, we have multiple hospital lottery draws. I always buy a ticket every year to support the local hospitals. So, I mean, I guess you could win a lottery ticket from the house of windfalls to the house of hospitals if you bought a lottery ticket to do with hospital themes or jails. All right. Thanks for listening to that, guys. Let's splice this into the rest of the video, because somehow my cursor jumped over Aries and went to Taurus. And because I just read the chart, I didn't think, oh, where's Aries? There's the Aries spliced in. Have a wonderful ride on the eclipses. Don't forget to check out all my other videos, as well as liking and subscribing. I should be pitching them in the middle of the video. Bye. All right, let's talk about this story. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. The eclipse cycle takes you back to 2008-9, back to 1989 to 91, particularly 1990, the same time of year. And this is an eclipse, however, as I mentioned in the intro, that is very different, because we actually have two parts of your sky that are wide awake with change. We have the 10th house, which is incredible. This is where you're going to have massive change in your career. You're going to have new directions in your work and reputation. You've got a portal to the fresh and new. And you're going to notice that because of that beautiful star Cygnus up there, Glennis Cygni, from the constellation of Cygnus, it can be about being showy and performative. It is about showing you the best that life has to offer. It's idealistic, it's ardent, transformative, star of magic. I don't know how else it could be spoken as positive, door of change here. And a Taurus who is unhappy with their career or purpose, or you're retired and you feel like you lack meaning and purpose, I expect this portal of this eclipse to open you up to purpose and meaning, as well, because it's ruled by Saturn, potential career changes connected to far off lands and foreign shores. It's quite possible that you guys might be moving to another country, working for a foreign company, or having significant foreign elements connected to how your career is going to likely want to unfold. This is also attended, unlike these other years I've mentioned, by the North Node, bringing a hybrid energy to your 11th house of great gains from your career. No, this is not a big deal, a little deal. This is a big deal because we have North Node Venus exalted with Mercury. The combination can be incredibly powerful for a new beginning in your career that brings you over time, at least over a year, increased success financially, including perks, rewards, and awards for the career that you are pursuing. It can lead to raises, promotions, more money, more success. It can also mean that you're going to massively change in a destined and fated way your social circles. The universe is asking you to change who you hang with, what kinds of people you collaborate with, who are your allies and benefactors. They're going to be something destined in you. Look to friends, allies, benefactors, or a sibling, one older even, to be really opening up doors of worldly success and opportunity for you in unexpectedly beautiful ways over the next year. And some of this may have already begun to play out up to 6 weeks before the eclipse on February 17th. With the shock and awe of Uranus, Algol, well star, you are the generator of the current of change. It may not be anything unexpected. You want to radically redefine who you are in the eyes of the world, the actions you take in a career and purpose path. You want to break free of a straitjacket that has held you back. You want to move into something like the butterfly chrysalis, entirely new in your career, so that it doesn't look like anything you've done before. Your freak flag wants to fly. You want to reinvent yourself. Especially Taurus Sun, reinvent your career and purpose, especially Taurus Moon, reinvent your emotions, but your home life, and Taurus Rising, invent the whole damn show, the character, the career. Let's say it's up for grabs. And Jupiter in your third house, flowing to this eclipse in a way we haven't seen since the late 1800s. Hello, that can open up incredible success if it involves marketing, selling, teaching, writing, or online social media. Those are doors of yes for you. This eclipse generates that energy for you over the next 6 months minimum, and even up to a year later. So there you have it, my fellow Taurus people. And Venus is the Lord of your sign, exalted on the North Node. The North Node is what creates the eclipse to begin with. Now, I will say one thing. This is called a house of pennies from heaven and windfalls. You could get a windfall. Mercury is opening up doors to the destiny path in the fifth house of good fortune, including winning money. There's a small chance that some of you might win some money. Look for that nearer to the eclipse, perhaps, but anytime a month before and up to 6 months after, you may feel like you won a lottery. You may not actually win a lottery, but you may feel so grateful. It feels like you won the lottery, and most likely connected to career, but it could come to you in many, many ways. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Now, in the intro, please watch it. I did talk about how some things you should listen to, but this is 2008, 2009, 1989 to 91. We're repeating history, cycles of history, destined, fated change. This is not the same. It never really is. Pluto is transformation, death, and rebirth. We have a butterfly, chrysalis, caterpillar story, emergence from transformation on the Sabian symbol, a beautiful star of subtle magic here, also living life to the fullest. It's a really powerful story in your ninth house. So Gemini sun, you're thinking career, moon, your home life and emotions, and Gemini rising, the situation your character is playing in this avatar simulation matrix. It is a house of God. That means spiritual ideology, religion. It's a house of dharma, purpose and meaning in life. But on another note, it's a house of legal and court matters and book publishing. It's a house of foreign lands and travel and distant shores. It's a house of spiritual guides, mentors, and teachers. Okay? So you can study and go to university, colleges, and campuses here as well. Now, this is opening a portal or a door. So if you were going to go to school, the hybrid eclipse says it's connected to professional advancement. You're not going to school to study basket weaving if that's not something that's going to support your professional advancement. So any learning or studying in higher academic placements was likely, or any even skills-based learning based on this story, will be tailored to career success. You could also be teaching. This eclipse can open up a huge amount of energy, Lord Saturn governing it, to restructure your career financial gain. the way you make money or how you make money from your career. That's the 11th house of career gains, but also the 11th house is connected very strongly to your friendship circles and your allies and a sibling one older. And all of those are changing. And if you have a sibling two older, that's your 9th house, and that's changing too. So siblings, one older, two older, for sure, some changes could be going on in the lives of those people that you're going to connect to positively. But I wonder with Saturn in your 11th house of good spirit, he's a planner. He's a long game. He's a strategist here. He's like, what's our, hey, game on, but what's some realistic ways to structure career? And he's going to be trying to work with the eclipse. Now, I have a progressed sun in Gemini, so I'm trying to get my book proposal done from Agent Eileen in New York City. And so therefore, that's me structuring reality around getting that done so that I can publish an astrology book for you guys, right? So you can clearly see that makes sense for my sun in Gemini. If you are looking at the possibility, though, that you want to travel abroad or move to another country or anything to do with foreign lands, it benefits your professional advancement here. Venus exalted on the North Node connected to Mercury. This is how you can take this beautiful worldly success in your career house, looking like a diva on the stage, getting tons of microphone time, and people are like liking you or something. And you can also create stable new structures for the money you're making in the career. Jupiter's already saying, let's lush up your finances. And he's flowing to Venus in the career house and the North Node in a way we haven't seen since 1894. Bottom line, you're going to succeed in your career at a level you've never experienced before through to the end of this year. And you're likely bringing in a new sense of meaning and purpose as well, because the more on purpose you are with meaningful career ambition, the more successful you'll probably be. The sky can be extremely literate, what's the word? Literal, not literate, literal. And if you were to be publishing or writing anything, sometimes it takes the qualities on of what's up here. So that star that I told you about, living life to the full of subtle magic, resilience, ardor, showy, but also Mars, decisions, actions, or ambition or passion, and Pluto, transformation, rebirth, and death. Those are themes around what's going on in that 9th house for you. And that may translate to what you want to teach, write, communicate, or publish as well in the house of God. Funny, I have the coming age of miracles. I channel the voice of God with the ears of my soul. I'm going to put it out in the world as a freebie, and I'm going to say, just grab it here. Maybe I'll put it to Amazon as a Kindle, and it'll just be free. People can get it. I'm not going to want to sell it. I don't want to own it. And I can see myself doing that as well in this eclipse energy from my Gemini sun. All right, moving on to the next sign. Anything else I want to say to you guys? Nope. Enjoy the ride, Geminis. It's going to be pretty wild and pretty powerful, and I think pretty positive. Don't look at the eclipse. I explained why in the introduction. Not that you live in Antarctica. Okay. If you happen to be a Cancer sun, moon, and rising sign, then you're going to be experiencing an 8th house eclipse like you did back in 2008-9, 2 Aquarian eclipses here, back in 1990-91, 2 Aquarian eclipses, solar eclipses in the winter here, kind of thing, probably. I mean, it's not always the same every year, actually. I think that one of those years, 1990, we had only lunar eclipses here, but all I'm trying to say is eclipses in your 8th house with Aquarius. This is a hybrid eclipse. So, but let's go back to the 8th house, chunky money. Now, chunky money means you didn't earn it. It's unearned income, shared resources, could be an inheritance, an insurance payout, a stock investment, shareholder, right? Book publishing income, royalty income shared with the publisher. It could be money coming here for you guys from your spouse and your in-laws as well. Shared resources. So that kind of money is really activated in this part of your sky. With Pluto as death and rebirth in the house of death. Mars is decisions, actions, and change. And of course, the star, beautiful star, subtle magic is powerfully placed for living your life to the fullest, being able to tap into, the butterfly wing of change, caterpillar. And I always talk to my clients and I say the 8th house is like this snake that sheds its skin, or the caterpillar that becomes a butterfly. It is that transformation house anyway. And here you are having that in there with a actual Sabian about a butterfly and a chrysalis transformation, Pluto. death, rebirth, catharsis, regeneration, and transformation. It can hit you on the money story. There's no doubt about it, because it really reflects the axis of 2 and 8. Go watch my general video about that. But if you're going to have a shift in the money and you're going to have a dramatic shift, it comes into contact with a hybrid eclipse and Saturn in the 10th. Let me give you some examples. A change in your financial structures connected to your work, your career, your reputation, or father figures in your life. But at the same time, you also have Venus on the North Node exalted, and blessings are there to increase your success, ambition, and worldly success in the 9th house. Now, if you are in the book publishing industry and you're a writer, this is 10 out of 10. Mercury rules your writing house. Venus exalts your publishing house. And this gives you worldly success in that area. Don't hesitate to get an agent, write a book, reach out to a publisher. Really great for going back to school or going to school for the first time, getting a dream education, getting a bursary scholarship because of the 8th house, finding an easy student loan, and going off to some study that you really want. If you always want to teach and you want to be the professor, this is going to say yes, yes, yes. Now, you could also look at the 9th house as meaning and purpose in life, and you're really moving towards that alignment. And as you do that, you're more prosperous and you're more happy and you're more fortified. Jupiter has not been here trining Venus North Node like this since back in 1894. This is going to glow you up, and you're going to have a new sense of leadership and hope and faith and optimism in life itself. This eclipse blesses you in a trine energy. And because we have the North Node in that 9th house, it makes whatever the money changes are in the 8th house mostly positive. And if you're an occultist, the tarot, numerology, astrology, any of the mysterious hermetic arts, Gnostic wisdom, take your pick. This is opening up channels for you. Pluto, the god of the underworld, you might start talking to dead people. You might start channeling a book. You might start using your esoteric and occult knowledge and wisdom to apply to a chironic guide, mentor, teacher, healing, meaningful, key to purpose career. And I will say all of those are possible. You might be feeling it 6 weeks before the eclipse and up to 6 months to a year after the eclipse. You are compelled in the directions I have described. Enjoy the ride. Cancers, sun, moon, and rising. Oh, Cancer moon, do you want to change your home to a distant, far off land? You might do that. But you feel like you've been there before? You might do that. Or do you want to move your home to your homeland if you've moved away? That's very possible too. That's been playing out as early as the beginning of January already. Leo, sun, moon, and rising, we're halfway through. Because we started this whole show with Aquarius. So Leo people, the first thing you got to be aware of is that you've got to move your vibes into marriage and long-term love. If you are not married, this is going to want you to open up a possibility of a new relationship that can be somewhat intense, transformative, regenerative. You can feel like in love and relationship. You are a butterfly from the old wiggly caterpillar. Like it's this transformational love, rejuvenating love. If you have an audience or a marketplace with that star Glenna, the showy Cygnus swan stuff, subtle magic, you could open up new doors of success into reaching your audience, your marketplace, your clients. You might make some changes there as well. But if you're married, I mean, Mars here, if you're already in a long-term committed cohab, then you might have cutting, severing, and ending here. I have to say Pluto, death and rebirth, transformation, cut, sever, and end. Or your partner may be ready to cut, sever, and end in a relationship to you. I can't change that. It's the sky. Maybe that's what you're needing in life, is to end that relationship for some reason. Mars is a ruler of the 4th house, especially if you cohabitate with them. Then there could be a major ending coming in a major relationship. Saturn is in the house of courts and judges. There you have to consult the court, right? And see what you're able to get in a divorce settlement. And Venus is in the house of divorce, money, shared resources with exalted North Node. If you're looking at separating assets because it's time for a divorce or separation, you're going to come out on top. So don't be afraid that way on the financial front. You might even get the home, the property, the land, or a big chunk of it. You're entitled to it in a fair and destined way. A lot of women I know in my client practice over the years, they just want out of the relationship. They don't want any money from their spouse. I've been there. I did the same thing. 20 years married to one guy, 2 children, and I took nothing. I walked, right? You know what I'm saying? From any spousal support, parts of his pension. I was too afraid that I wouldn't get free, right? So I did it what I need to get free without getting my just resort due. That's why you're seeing me at 63 working my ass off to create a career path. So I want you all, women listening especially, if you're trying to get out from underneath a relationship that's significant, like a marriage, you're going to be fine financially if you choose to go in that way, in a fair way, by the way. I also want you to know that with Saturn in the top of the ninth house, guides, counselors, coaches, and mentors and lawyers can favor you now. So find your dream lawyer, etc., or guide, mentor, teacher, coach, counselor to open up possibilities of what you want to do about love, whether you're with someone and you want to get out from underneath it, or you're not with somebody and you want to figure out, hey, who am I supposed to be with? What's next? The downside of the sky is if you were single and we see Venus in the eighth house, yes, it could be a very karmic new love story that could come your way. There's no two ways about it. But there's also that possibility of it being involved in an extracurricular, extramarital love affair in a destined fated way, separate from your marriage. Although some of you may not mind being the mistress or the mister or whatever, that's one of those things I can see happening here. You might have a secret love affair wanting to blossom in the next year. If you feel uncomfortable with that, then I'm going to leave it to you to figure out what your score is on your moral values or not. Sudden change, unexpected new directions in your career, right? Uranus is up there. What's going to suddenly shift? What's going to want to change? Well, you might just make a new direction in your career and reputation to make money in a new way. But at the same time, weddings, divorces, and social standing, and there may be a shocking, surprising, swift-moving change of marital status. I'm separated, I'm divorced, I'm getting married, I'm getting widowed or widowered. These kinds of shocking changes may occur for you starting in January, 6 weeks before the eclipse, and all the way through probably to 6 months, right, to keep it nice and tight, but even up to 1 year after this eclipse. Don't mind Jupiter flowing here. He hasn't done that since the late 1800s to the North Node Venus, while the eclipse is happening here. Again, favoring you in divorce settlements and shared resources, money from in-laws, and maybe the possibility of also some significant relocation could come to a foreign land or distant shore. You might want to move for relationship reasons in the next year. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. We have eclipses like we did here before, but they're not entirely the same, as I already said in the intro. So if you were going back to 1990 to 91, kind of 89, 90, 91, but really 90, 91, 2008, 2009, eclipses were occurring in the sign of Aquarius. This is a house of work, health, pets, tenancies, rentals, debts, karmic in real life, money. And it literally, and health and sickness. So much going on in that cadence 6th house. And you're going to look at a new portal of change, a destined change. I do like the star here, positive, subtle magic and showy and good for, resilience and sort of living the best life. That's the star I talk about in the intro, Glenna, Cygni. And also you could find yourself here making really powerful choices because Mars is in the sign of house of his joy. And unstoppable willpower is Pluto Mars. So unstoppable power to choose and decide and cut and end and sever regarding things connected to rental property, job, work, employment, pets. Now, anytime we have an eclipse in the house of pets and you have a pet, especially an aging and elderly pet, especially with Saturn, that could indicate the passing of an elderly pet in the 6 months, weeks before and 6 months after the eclipse. Saturn's in the house of death. If you want an animal and you're trying to get a new animal, look for that to be a reincarnation of an already passed animal coming back to you for another visit. One thing about this as well is that you're definitely, if you're not having fun, joy, passion, and determined power and success in your career already, then you're going to want to change it. Okay, you're going to want to make a change, or life will give you a new direction. You want to have greater career gains. You got Jupiter in your 11th, more like perks, rewards, and money, or fun or joy in the work you do, And so you can see yourself like literally retiring. Saturn's in the house, 8th house, which is often very retirement oriented. And by the time the end of this year happens, some of you may choose to cut out of a career, like retire from a career, maybe to induce you to travel more, Yeah, that would be in this chart as well. Now, this eclipse is a hybrid, and that makes it different than the other years I just mentioned. The North Node, Venus, could indicate some major life changes in your reality connected to a significant long-term love relationship. And these major love relationship changes could also involve matters connected to a possible change in like you could get married, a wedding proposal, a marriage, a wedding date is set in the next year. That's obviously going to be more true if you're already with someone rather than starting a new relationship under this eclipse. Okay, so that's the vibe. Your significant other might also be benefiting greatly in their work and in their life. And they can also be able to, your significant other, perhaps get more career gains or also get some real career success from international distant shores and lands. Or your significant other is just going to go through a destined, fated good time and improvement in their own life, including their health. And if you have your own health challenges, right, this could be a clearing out of those health challenges, cutting, severing, and ending what it is that is causing a challenge. Mars here is inflammation, right? And as Mars is beginning this eclipse, he's already been in Aquarius for, I don't know when. Someone remind me when, like, sometime in late December, right? So sometime in mid-December. So this is inflammation. So it's going to be rashes, fevers, acne outbreaks. My daughter's having that. She's a rising sign Virgo. It'll come out of there and leave. It's a temporary inflammation, but this eclipse might actually go deeper. Like, can you get rid of the karmic reasons you're having the health challenge entirely? I said to my daughter, like, what are you afraid to face in life that your face is breaking out, right? So you can go deeper than the surface to excise karmic health challenges once and for all. The unexpected, exciting change is going to be coming to your 9th house. Are you going to move to another country? Are you going to suddenly get a book publishing deal? Are you going to be so surprised and delighted by something going on with a sibling too older? Are you going to have a sudden shock or rue about that wedding proposal you didn't see coming, marriage proposal? Are you going to maybe get more aligned with purpose by leaving one job, starting another? Does human resources or headhunters reach out to you and shock the bejesus out of you, excuse my language, as they offer you some opportunity in a career setting that you're like, wow, I couldn't see that coming. I'm so excited. Those are the things that I see in the life of a Virgo. If you're wanting to get out of a marriage, though, then you're going to succeed. And if you want to get into a new relationship, fine. But also some of you are looking at up-leveling, marriage, wedding proposals, new agreements, maybe all of that stuff too. Alrighty, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. This is an eclipse cycle that favors you. It does trine you like this. This is a beautiful energy flowing back towards you. So you don't want to be afraid of it. All the air signs should enjoy these eclipses more so than anyone else. You had eclipses here, Libra, sun, moon, and rising back in 2008, 9, 1989 to 91, particularly 90, 91. Different because of the hybrid nature, as I said in the introduction. The North Node is expending energy to give you worldly, blessed, exalted Venus success in your health, in your work, in your pets, in your rental property situations, whether you are a leasee or a leaseor. At the very same time, you also might have an increase of debts. You might have more expenditures. Venus, North Node, expending more money, having more debts to pay, but they should be for good reason under this kind of sky. In fact, they might be debts connected to career. So, you take out a business loan or you're spending more money to be more prosperous in your career. Because this is an entrepreneurial house, a creative and artistic house, and all of that. If you're not an entrepreneur, this eclipse could open up a doorway for you to be an entrepreneur. Subtle magic, living life to its fullest, blessings from the star, Cygnus. Okay. Cygnus is it's a swan. It's showy. It's the wing of the swan, the best that life has to offer. Transformative results. Okay. This could open up an awesome door for artistic, muse-driven, joyful, and entrepreneurial expression. If you've always wanted to do that, this is your door. And it will lead to increasing success, enjoyment, and fun in the house of work. This is good for you having a staff and getting new employees in here as well. And I think that because you have a shocking surprise or unexpected, swift moving, exhilarating Uranus on a wealth star in the house of chunky money, and this is in the house of good fortune, ruled by a sun that's the ruler of the house of windfalls. I could see a destined financial windfall coming to you, and that's going to include inheritances from an elder in the family system. See, Saturn, the elder in the setting place, ruling a Maraca, a death house, ruling the eclipse. So even though we don't want to like jump up for joy when great Uncle Joe or ancient, 90-year-old granddad or grandmom passes, if that happens, it looks like you could come into money. If any of you are in line for succession of financial wellness from inheritances, this can open up that inheritance store in the year that follows this eclipse or up to 6 weeks beforehand. We haven't seen Jupiter trining Venus North Node like this since the late 1800s. So you're in a luscious time for career success, work success. You can dramatically improve your health here by getting rid of self-undoing addictions, bad habits, and patterns, and changing your dietary habits. End of story. Super clear to me. Okay, get rid of the things that are undoing you, whatever they are. I don't care. You don't smoke, you don't drink. Okay, fine. But what do? Eat Haagen-Dazs all night, right? Like potato chips. This is a clearinghouse for better health for you. But you must attend to dietary habits in order for that to happen. Okay? Hopefully you got that. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is an eclipse that opens up a doorway, a portal of destined change to home, property, land, and real estate, or people with whom you live, the profile of your domestic private life and who lives in the place you live with, roommates, family, whatever they are, destined change, right? Portal of destined change. I like the star here. It's powerful, idealistic, resilient. It has to do with being able to transform things. It brings subtle magic. I would use this if you want, because it could open up Mars, the Lord of your sign, and Pluto, a transformative, regenerative, and renewing change of domicile, a new home. Now with Saturn, he says a rental property. He's in the house of leases and tenancies, a dream rental. Now you might find a dream tenant for your home, or you may move to a dream rental property as well. Take your pick. Some of you will do that in the next year, right? After this eclipse, or even already have begun that process up to 6 weeks beforehand. Now, another element here is family wealth. If you have somebody in your family who could pass away, someone emailed me, I don't have anybody who could die and I don't have it. Well, I know, but some of you do, right? So you do. You have an upline of wealth that could come your way. We're talking father figures, and we're talking wealth. So grandfather, father, great uncles, whatever, father figures, wealth, transfer of wealth. And it will feel to you like a windfall or good fortune because it's probably just time, right? It's not like a misfortune. It's time for that money to transfer to you, for you to benefit from it. That could include money from in-laws, but it looks a little bit more like it's coming straight from your family lineage. Okay. Now, beautiful energy for fertility and pregnancy. My Scorpio rising sun is pregnant with his wife. And this is actually just showing what's coming down the road. And that is a change of home, maybe because of a new baby. But this is fertility, ovum, sperm, conception, North Node, fated and destined, and there's childbirth up here. So fated, destined, fertility stories. If you're a Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, fated emergence of grandchildren in your life, new grandchildren coming in the next year. If you are Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising, and you want to make babies, absolutely yes. In the next year, they can be conceived or they can be born. And this is a destined story, fated story at this time. I know it might feel awkward or uncomfortable, but have known this person before. This chart suggests that whoever's being born to you, grandchildren or children, they are from the family system and you know them already. Like you'll recognize this is just like my granddad, my dad. Like you'll know the person, the baby will seem familiar. You'll know the soul is coming back. And the shocking surprise or unexpected thing that could occur here is in your significant long-term love house, business clients, marketplace audience, business partners, and swift moving surprises. Now, if you're not pregnant and you and your partner aren't thinking of a baby, there's a surprise. If you're already pregnant, I'm not kidding you. I don't know. Your partner could say the latest ultrasound showed twins or triplets, but it's not a negative thing. Uranus is being ruled by Venus, who's in a sextile. So surprises around that can happen. Single Scorpios looking for love, look no further than this eclipse to bring you a swift moving, exhilarating, exciting, game-changing new love story. And it will be fated and destined. It will involve higher love, unconditional love, and a deep spiritual connection. And it could be to somebody who you perceive as foreign, from a foreign country, foreign land, language, skin color, background, or religion. And for single Scorpios, I don't think you'll get out of this without a major new love story coming your way. I don't think it'll happen. Your own children are benefiting from this eclipse energy, and they may also come into, children, fertility, pregnancy, or exciting new love stories in the life of your children, both, especially a firstborn child. Okay. And secondarily, a secondborn child. That's what I got for Scorpios. Hang in there, guys. This is a roller coaster. So watch yesterday's video, or I think it will come out the day before, about the general Leo Aquarius change axis is coming up, right? So you understand the deeper story of this year and next year. And that video should be out probably a day before this one. I'll put a link to it below the description box. Holy man, I'm having a hunger attack. I need food. Okay, so Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. The sky tells me that you're having a story that looks a lot like 2008, 2009, 1989 to 91, especially 90, 91, as eclipses are going to change the profile of your third house. Your third house has to do with your siblings, your neighbors, sometimes your cousins, nieces, and nephews, matters connected to your local area, neighbors and neighborhood where you live, the town, the city, the area in your city or state, matters connected to things to do with shorter distance travel, and matters connected to writing, communicating, marketing, selling, and teaching, skills-based learning and teaching. Especially now in our modern world, this is media, and now it's social media as well. So, a lot of times people who work in media have planets in their third house, journalists, or even Elon Musk, moon there, created, PayPal, and he now has Twitter, right? Or X. So these vibes. So this is a very busy junk drawer. The third house has a lot of meanings. The eclipses here for you could get you on journeys, especially long distance pilgrimages or long distance travel, but also short distance travel. And it could even in this kind of sky rehome you. Some of you Sagittariuses will want to change where you live. You may want to move to a foreign land, a foreign shore, or have a significant change to a beautiful, exalted new home. And so over the next year, look for the possibility of travel that leads to a new home, or a new home that leads to travel, and changes around those matters. Difficulties with a sibling, one younger than you in particular, can come off of this eclipse, but also even a sibling two younger than you. So these younger siblings may be going through challenges. I also encourage you to think about what it is you want to do if you desire to study. This can open up a portal of destined and fated learning, and study, especially to learn a new skill, is indicated here. This is an eclipse. It's a hybrid. It's going to open up elements, as I said, potentially changing your home. If you want to have children and you haven't conceived a child, it can indicate a romantic love story close to home or homeland that leads to conception of a child, specifically if you are an older person, meaning like you waited a long time to have kids. You're, at least past your mid-30s or early to mid-30s. And then you may be bearing children. For men, you could do it at any age, right? But for women, not so. So this could be like, oh, I'm going to be making babies in the next year. The shock, surprise element, right, is about home, but it may be about rental. But with Jupiter here, also inheriting money. If you're to inherit money, it can come through many different parts of the sky, but this looks like some feeling of exalted wealth, making an inheritance come true from father figures. So, male figures in your lineage bequeathing money to you upon getting ready to leave their body, drop their body. And then therefore, I will say both you could buy a house, rent a house, sell a house, or own a house. in the wake of this eclipse. Now, you begin to feel the eclipse energy 6 weeks before, and of course, up to 6 months to a year after. It's not a one and done. But I like this if you wanted to have an unexpected, exhilarating opportunity to perhaps move your home to another city or a different neighborhood by renting a home. If you work in the social media landscape here, which is here, this is exciting, but there can be some unexpected surges of success that you didn't see coming in the livelihood you do in the social media land. And writing, communicating, marketing, and selling, yeah, that could bring some great success as well. Destined and fated, especially if you work in this field from home, right? Home-based entrepreneurial gigs. Your own children. Okay, the eclipse is ruled by Saturn in the house of your children. So major changes in the life of your children. This could also therefore be quite indicative of you, ending up with grandchildren off of this and this year ahead. And maybe also, I love that not seen since 1894 is that, there's a support structure from Jupiter in your 8th house of chunky money. I think that's the inheritance story myself. I really do. But your kids could come into some money as well. Okay, children coming into money as well as you. If you're a writer, then you should start writing something off of this eclipse. Give yourself a year to make it true, but you could have some beautiful success as a writer. And not only just a one-off, like you write a book and the publisher wants a trilogy, or you're a film and TV writer and you write a proposal and they want you to continue to write for the whole series. Like this is like a long writing gig. Creative, artistic can emerge from this and be very profitable as well. I am so hungry, I'm going to faint. We need to finish, right? Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. The energy tells me that you have a beautiful, profound energy in the money, earnings, and resources house. This is also your face, like teeth, second house, nose, dietary habits, and styles. Saw eclipses here 2008-9. Saw eclipses here back in 89 to 91, especially 90-91. What changes did you make in your earnings, your money, your resources, your teeth, your face, your throat, your voice? Did you make changes in how you earn money? Because things here have happened before. I love the star here. It brings a really beautiful success. It's a positive star. It connects to, magic and truth and transformation, the best that life has to offer in the money house. Pluto is wealth. Mars is change. Unstoppable will and determination as well. If you'd find something you want to do, Mars is a self-starter. He often in this part of the chart, this way, will come into a decision for you to make money by being self-employed or doing your own thing or taking over a family business or something like that in the next year. But this eclipse is unlike the other ones other years because it's hybrid and the North Node is in the 3rd house. So some of these career changes and earnings changes can involve the decision to be a teacher, skills-based teacher, learning, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, being in the online digital world. North Node, success, worldly success, Venus, exalted worldly success. So if you have never done anything online, Venus says, I'm the owner of your entrepreneur house with the North Node of destiny. Mars says self-starter. If you've always been employed, don't be that. This could bring you into a powerful new beginning in which you are creating your own wealth through your own self-generated direction entrepreneurially. You have an unexpected, shocking development in the house of love, romance, sex, and children. And entrepreneurship. This is connected to a square, to the eclipse. 2-5 is a square energy. And you could be unexpectedly shocked by a sudden, unexpected windfall. Yes, Mars rules the house of pennies from heaven. He's with the eclipse. This is Uranus, the shock and awe on Wellstar Elgol. You could win the Powerball. You could win a lottery. You could get money from the winning lottery monies of a significant long-term love partner or significant partner in life. So whatever it is, it's good for your money. It's exciting. Will it happen on the day of February 17th? No, I don't think so. But it certainly can happen anywhere up to 6 months to a year after. I give it 6 months for you to feel like you won the lottery. If you didn't literally win it, it just feels like it. Now let's talk about where you live. because Saturn rules this eclipse in the house of possessions. That includes you possess a car, you possess a home, and food, shelter, water. This could look like a really exciting change of home. This kind of sky could bring a change of home because you're buying a home or renting a home. Both are true, both are possible. It would be swift moving, but you could also be excited. And it could also be a change of home that will last a while, like at least 3 years. So if you change your home off of this eclipse, 2 to 3 years at least in that new place, town, city, neighborhood, home. North Node says foreigner, foreign land, or foreign place, foreign neighborhood, or far off from where you currently live. Could be in your own country, but very far from where you are right now. Another part of the, other shoreline. I do want to wonder if you're moving to a home because of relationships, love, and romance. It also because exciting or exhilarating or sudden or surprising news connected to your children and their life, and maybe fertility, pregnancy, for example, children and grandchildren, for sure. Would you get pregnant off of this one? Like you and a significant love partner, could that lead to pregnancy? Possibly. But if it does, it's because you guys went on a romantic leisure getaway trip and someone got knocked up. So you're going to be a little more careful on your birth control if you're a man or woman of childbearing age, or you want to have kids, maybe not, right? So like getting away, traveling, going on a romantic trip, even just having a one-night stand with someone on a romantic getaway, like, I don't know, traveling and having sex with a stranger. There's a lot of fertility here, guys. Give it a year to be really cautious around unprotected sex. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? That's a little long-winded the way I tried to express it. Change your dietary habits and styles to improve your health, absolutely, in this chart. And it's good for writing, especially with Mercury. Writing a motivational, inspirational, exciting writing projects can be very successful under this eclipse and bring renewed and different sources of revenue. And any career path that involves entrepreneurial stuff or online social media, websites, booking calendars, that kind of stuff, that's really good for you too. Money could come to you from a sibling 3 younger or 3 older. Okay, there's that part of it. And it could look like an inheritance. You know what I mean? So sadly, sometimes spouses pass and you might come into money off of this eclipse 6 weeks before, up to 6 months after, even up to a year after this eclipse. That's what I've got for you guys as well. Now we're doing the outro, and I said I'd read a poem to you guys, all right? And the poem I'm going to read is I think I can find it, The Crossing, because it reminds me so much of the energy of what I was saying in the beginning about the butterfly, the chrysalis, the wings that are here, and Cygnus, the swan, the star, Cygnus, Glenna, Cygna here. So let me grab that poem. Let me read the poem to you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's get rolling on the poem. All right. The poem is called The Call. I do have one about the crossing, and the crossing is about enlightenment. And I will actually read that poem on another video. But I wanted to read the crossing because it has wings in it. And it's about the energy that I'm seeing in our sky with the Cygnus swan and with this beautiful Sabian symbol about the wings and the butterfly and the chrysalis. So let me read that poem to you. Let me know what you think about it. I wrote this during the pandemic. I wrote it because I just channeled it. I think a lot of you know, if you write a good poem, you don't write the poem, it comes through you, not from you. And so here we go. It's called The Call. Woo. And I wrote it in 2000 and I'm looking at the date. I don't know. I didn't date it. It's the pandemic. I think it would have been in 2020. Yeah, sometime early in the pandemic, like in the winter of 2020. We need the dark witches now. Power beyond love and light. Where the deep I'm starting over because I can't read my computer very well. Let me turn the light up. I'm reading it on my screen, but the font is small. Starting all over again. The call, the call, the call. We need the dark witches now. Power beyond love and light, where the deep inks brilliant truth across souls hungry for what matters. We need the dark witches now, who remember that love too carries a sword, that change cleaves the new from the old. We need the dark witches now, who know that no birth is without pain, that cord cutting heralds new life. We need the dark witches now who speak the language of love in sharp words, because true wisdom shears away falsity. We need the dark witches now, ebony wings up for flight, to remember this time is for the crossing, and that all thresholds bode peril, known and unknown. I call on you, sisters and brothers of the deep, magicians with unbounded power, sourced in uncompromising love. Will you stand with me, united, that we may cross safely and carry on our courage those yet to remember that they too have wings? So you have wings. We all have wings. And we're here to remember each other, to remind each other that we do as well, that everyone here has those wings to fly. So hopefully that poem will speak to some of you who stuck around for the intro, because in a time of potentially Carrington events, mass solar flares, earthquakes, volcanoes, climate change, but not for the reasons we think, it's connected to the sun, for times of corruption and greed and control, in times where we have the archons running the show from the demiurge Yaldabaoth, that's for you Gnostics, in the time where the demonic and the reptilian are running the world, in the time where the powers that are controlling us are no longer able to. We all have to have those wings, okay, at the time of the crossing. And the world we're trying to create needs each of us to do this. It's not going to happen overnight. I won't live to see it. I will not live to see the transformation that we're trying to, that the soul of humanity, the collective spirit that we are, is trying to create. I will not be here for that. I'm 63. This will happen over decades, not days, but we start out together. We team up. We get the wings that are drying from the chrysalis and they're all wet, ready to fly, guys. Let's do it. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. You are appreciated here, all 8,500 newbies and everyone else who joined well before that. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Lunatic astrology.